जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। यशोदा नंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। यशोदा नंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय प्रभुपादा 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 जय प्रभुपादा। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सतश्री श्रीमद् चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सतश्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। मायपुर नवदीप धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। नर्मदा माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। लॉर्ड गुरु इष्ट देव हरे कृष्ण। All glories to the Summit Devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swami Namini. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Supadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapatagamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivan Sadhvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikas Swaminita Namani. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminita Namani. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shundyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखम करते वाचन मंगलम गंगायते गिरिमित्र कृपातमहं वन्दे श्री गुरुदीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम्। Hare Krishna, welcome to all devotees for the 11th session of Patropadesa Volume 1 online reading. Just before starting, I just want to confirm from devotees that I'm able to, I'm audible. Am I audible to everybody? And the material is clear, visible. Okay. So we will start reading. We'll be reading from. We'll start. Continue to read from page number 218, 1st November 2000. Mm. 1st November 2000. We hardly know each other, yet what few exchanges we have had have been brotherly and cordial. I have long respected your simplicity and straightforwardness. Now I am taking the liberty of writing to you about a difficult topic, so please don't mind for that. When in, I was praising your qualities and encouraging the devotees to invite you there more often, but was told that you had been discussing with some disciples about the pros and cons of your getting married. Of course, I do not know for sure if this is true, but having heard it from a leader of the yatra and having properly heard that you were similarly contemplating in the past has led me to surmise that it probably is true. If not, please forgive me. But if so, I strongly request you to reconsider your inclination to marriage, to at least defy your decision for some time. Even if you consider that it was a wrong decision for you to take sannyas, having done it and gone along with it for so many years, to renege on your vows now would be a far worse decision. Even if you feel a personal need to marry, it is not proper. For your role as a sannyasi is a public one with heavy responsibility. To marry now will lower the sannyasa ashram further in the eyes of the devotees and discourage them. It will be especially discouraging for brahmacharis who are seriously striving to maintain their vrata to see yet another sannyasi get married. Maharaj, you don't have long to live. At age 50 or so, you cannot be happy as grahastha. At least for the sake of others, it is better to continue as a struggling sannyasi. And it need not be such a great struggle. If you were to go on Padayatra India, for instance, provocations for sexual attraction would be minimal. I'm sure Padayatra India would be more than happy to facilitate in this regard. There are many preaching opportunities, including book distribution, constant chanting, frequent visits to holy dhams, and all this in association of Gaurnitai and Prabhupada. The natural Padayatra austerities are purifying and conducive for spiritual life. It is a paradise for brahmacharis and sannyasis. Wow, paradise for brahmacharis and sannyasis. I strongly urge and beg you to try joining Padayatra India and to put off your decision until after doing that for some time. If you were to come back from the brink, it would be a great inspiration for all devotees at a time when we need it most. Although Srila Prabhupada and his followers will certainly not reject you if you marry, if they would surely be happier if you battle on, taking the help of the devotees. Oh Krishna, I just got a call, very urgent. One second. Hare Krishna. Sorry, very, very sorry. No, his reading going on. I just stopped because I got a call, urgent call, because we need to get the painting from Vrindavan. One of our devotees is going, so I had to arrange for that. So sorry, devotees. Please inform Satchidananda Prabhu that Sunday itself with Govind Prabhu will come and collect the painting. It's important. Okay. Continuing. Although Srila Prabhupada and his followers will certainly not reject you if you marry, they would surely be happier if you battle on taking the help of the devotees. My path is very difficult. I am blind and my feet are slipping again and again. Therefore, may the saints help me by granting me the stick of their mercy as my support. This is the second time Maharaj is quoting this particular shloka from translation of the shloka from uh, Chaitanya Charitamrita. What do you think? 3rd November 2000. I will be glad to write to you from time to time. Thank you very much. Please do so. Even if you feel your advancement to be at snail pace, please never give up on Krishna or his service or his devotees. 11th November 2000. Please forgive me for this. At present, I am working as a software engineer at a software concern in B. When I am accepted to translate Sri Ramayana written by Your Highness, I thought I would find some time to do that. But the present job doesn't give me ample time for the translation. Actually, I've translated just 6 pages in the past 3 months. I'm very sorry for this. Since I am required to work on weekends also, I was unable to do this esteemed work. Even if I start translating on the available Sundays or other holidays, it takes me a lot of time to do this. Your Highness has written the book too beautiful, with great usage of power words in English and condensing a lot of information in small lines, coupled with rare to find literary expertise. It takes me a large amount of time to reflect them exactly in Tamil. At this speed, I will surely make waste of this project. I'm extremely sorry for telling you this after wasting such a long time. Since I had a great interest for this, I thought I would dig out the required time somehow to complete this work. But it is drawing on me now that at present I would be unable to do this, even though I like it very much. So please relieve me from this most distinguished work and please assign this Kainkaryam. Kainkaryam means offering or service. Kinkara, servant doing Kainkaryam. It's called. Kinkara means servant. Kim karoti. Kimkara. Kimkara. The servants do Kainkaryam to some other Bhagavata. Let me not hinder this project anymore. My little mind was wavering back and forth for the last 4 days what I am going to do regarding this till today. When I got the mail from Shri M. Das, I am forwarding this mail. I decided I should make a final decision. So, this mail, I am very, very sorry, Swami. Please forgive this pleading soul for doing such a papam. I have no other option. Typical South Indian letter. I'm not I'm not surprised at your inability to perform this service and was even expecting it. For when one becomes the dasa of a computer company, He must dedicate mind, body, and words in its service with ananya bhav, day and night, with no respite. In this regard, a Vaishnava Acharya has written, Bifal Shevinu Kripana Durajana Chapala Shukhala Bhala Gire. Simply for the sake of a drop of flickering happiness, I am uselessly serving miserly rascals. May Lord Rama be glorified. 19 November 2000. I know that you are a very sincere devotee of Lord Ranganathan and feel that he has sent you to this world for his service. But that somehow, due to the effect of Kali Yuga, you have become diverted. I would be very happy to arrange for various Grasta devotees to each contribute a small sum each month so that you could remain in Srirangam and lead a simple life dedicated only to the service of the Lord. It is perfectly honorable for a person fully engaged in devotional activities to accept donations for minimal personal requisites. So, you need have no qualms about doing so. Please consider this and let me know what you think. 31 December 2000. Your wife has informed me that you wish to return to sea to enjoy your senses. I humbly beg you that if you have any regard for me to kindly reconsider your decision. Krishna has been very kind to you and given you an opportunity to serve him and simultaneously fulfill your family needs. After waiting so long for such an opportunity, to give it up now would not be wise. Furthermore, you have a very nice wife and child, and to abandon them would be sinful. So please do not give up your responsibilities or succumb to the senses. To do so will only cause great suffering to yourself and others. Okay, now I can request some other devotees to read. Those devotees who feel that there is volume less, from my side there is full volume. They can increase their. They can go to volume controls, the right side of your app. Then they may increase that. Okay. Srinivas ji, can you please continue to read from 2001 for 2-3 pages? I've given you access to the mic. Can put,
Yes, Prabhu. Am I audible, Prabhu?
you're audible just like a person who is speaking in a conference room. Very echo is more.
Now, Prabhu.
You speak
Hello.
on.
Yes, sir. 7th February
No, no, no.
2001.
No, it is not good.
7th February 7th February 2001.
No, Prabhuji. Then maybe you should. Oh, my voice is also.
Hello.
Just in between, it was nice.
7th February
No,
2001.
it is not clear.
7th February 2001.
Why are you speaking on external mic?
No, Prabhu. Hello. Hello.
Now it is audible. Yes.
Okay, Prabhu. 7th February 2001. Thank you for your letter and concern about the earthquake. By Krishna's grace, no ISKCON devotees or properties were damaged. Devotees are now distributing thousands of plates of prasada daily in the affected area. I never sent a letter of rejection to AV Prabhu. However, there have been serious accusations and your local GBC representative, His Holiness B. Maharaja, is responding by sending HGK Prabhu, a senior devotee, to investigate. Please cooperate with this investigation. I understand that you feel upset, but it is the investigator's duty to impartially try to find out the actual facts. If there is no fault on the part of AV Prabhu, then there is nothing to fear. So please remain cool headed and cooperate. And remember that Krishna is the supreme controller and he has his plan for everything and everybody. Krishna tests his devotees in various ways, but those who stay faithful to his lotus feet can go on advancing in Krishna consciousness. I pray to Krishna that this matter may be settled soon in a manner most conducive to the eternal benefit of all concerned. 13th February 2001. Thank you very much for your letter. It is a little difficult to follow, but I think I understood its essence. You misunderstood if you thought I advised you to marry, rather the opposite. I have never recommended a once married woman to again marry and do not intend to do so in future. But it is true that women's power is very strong and that therefore, not only among Muslims but in Vedic culture also, there are strong restrictions to control this potentially damaging force. A major cause of the hellish condition in modern society is unrestricted mixing between men and women. Shastra speaks strongly against this. So did Srila Prabhupada. So do I. Notwithstanding, you have children to support and no husband. So I wish you all the best in your business endeavors, as also your preaching activities, which I suggest you mostly conduct among women. The time for you to live a fully renounced life will come later. I am sorry to hear of further injuries to your right arm. It must be a residual karmic reaction that Krishna wants you to go through. Tolerate it and learn from it. 14th February 2001. Thank you for your letter and your nice, if not somewhat late, Vaish Vyasa Puja offering. Please thank also for hers. Your letter express a mixture of sorrow and joy. Actually, Krishna consciousness is meant to be all joy. But as we are living in the material world, we are best with the anarthas of ourselves and others. Therefore, it is unrealistic to expect utopia.
Utopia.
Utopia. It is better to be grateful with the gift that Krishna has given us in the form of association with devotees, worship of the Lord and Tulsi, chanting the holy names, and so on. If we become overly disappointed with the inadequacies of others, we may develop apathy or offensiveness towards devotees and thus put ourselves into danger. It is true that the condition of our movement in and elsewhere is not what it used to be, and a manifestation of that is less deep exchanges between devotees. However, it is up to every one of us to behave positively towards others and thus make steps towards improving relationship. If everyone is waiting for everyone else to come forward and in the meantime complaining about everyone else, then certainly relationships will cold and impersonal. The solution lies with every one of us. Without making a genuine effort to open up to others and try to understand their problems, we ourselves will be perpetrating the selfishness and impersonalism that we ascribe to others. However, I am surprised that your experience of L was of devotees only looking after their own interest without caring for other people's feelings. My own impression and that of other attending devotees who I spoke to was of a warm family spirit. The mood was set by the host A and B, who worked hard to make arrangements and finance everything from their own earnings. At least they cannot be accused of selfishness. I hope that you did not feel I was neglecting you. It's a fact that I am perpetually busy with writing and traveling and preaching, and that as the number of my disciples increases, I get less time to spend for each of them. I am trying to compensate for that by writing books so as to give some valuable instructions and to visit at least once a year the areas where my disciples live. Last time in L, you unexpectedly left early, so I didn't get much chance to see you. But I also think of my disciples often and pray for their well being and hope that they do the same for me. I will always remember the nice services you have done for me. I especially appreciate the enthusiasm you have for distributing my books. I have sent a suggestion to several of my unmarried lady disciples who are not living in the temples that they regularly correspond with a senior Mataji disciple of mine, a very
Disciple.
disciple
Disciple.
of mine,
Yes.
a very wonderful and sympathetic devotee, G. Dasi. This was our response to this suggestion. Thank you very, very much for this wonderful idea. I am accepting it this very moment and I will write to G Mataji as soon as possible to introduce myself and my activities to her. I think that a senior Mataji is absolutely necessary for me because she can understand me better and I feel more free and open to talk to her about so many things and rules and regulations in spiritual life. I suggest that you also write to G regularly and from time to time send me a report of your progress in Krishna consciousness. I think this would help you to broaden your vision in Krishna consciousness and develop relationships with devotees beyond the small circle you are in now. Even though they are now no doubt wonderful devotees, it is better that you learn to associate with and appreciate other devotees also. 25th February 2001. You are wondering about accepting a Shiksha Guru. You are you see some disciples of who have not accepted Shiksha Gurus, but without a spiritual authority, they are prone to be misguided at any time, and many of them indeed are quite deviated. Judging from your distressed and confused tone, I suggest that it is imperative that you immediately accept guidance from properly placed spiritual authorities. It is also important to become steady in your practices of Krishna consciousness, including Mangal Arati and at least 16 rounds. That depends upon developing determination and faith in the holy name. That may be achieved by chanting feelingly and developing a prayerful mood. The songs of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura are wonderful for helping us conditioned souls to start to feel for Krishna, and I recommend that you regularly Read them. I also suggest that you immediately start reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita for at least 1 hour daily and intensely pray for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. Apart from having a spiritual authority, you also need spiritual friends, especially as you are going through such a difficult period. May I put you in touch with a senior Mataji disciple of mine. She is a very wonderful and sympathetic devotee, G. Dasi. 23 April 2001. Thank you for your letters. It is not clear which point you want me to address in my reply. And anyway, it is impossible for me at such a distance to ascertain exactly what is going on. But I will make some general observations appropriate to the situation. Spiritual leadership in the Vaishnava tradition is based on adherence to Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Only a committed follower of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra is competent to be a bona fide leader. A committed follower does not invent anything new or mix the process of Krishna consciousness with other processes, but simply presents what he has heard from his Guru. One of the claims about A.V. Prabhu is that he teaches some breathing technique along with chanting. I was aware of this as he had mentioned it to me. Although breathing techniques are not very important, sometimes in preaching such things are used to help bring people to Krishna consciousness. So I do not see anything intrinsically harmful in this. As long as it is not promoted as the main sadhana and it is gradually made clear that the essence is chanting Hare Krishna and not breathing techniques. However, if, as it is claimed, these breathing techniques are mixed with chanting Hare Krishna for the purpose of experiencing some extrasensory perception, then this would constitute a serious deviation from the knowledge we have received in parampara from Srila Prabhupada. Development of extrasensory perception has nothing to do with the process of Krishna consciousness, nor is it even considered desirable for those practicing bhakti. Indeed, attempts to develop extrasensory perception are a deviation from the true goal of developing pure Krishna consciousness. Also of concerns is the accusation that unknown to me, AV Prabhu has another guru than myself. If so, that would be a breach of the guru-disciple relationship on his part. Other points were also mentioned by the investigative team to which the same principle applies. Anything not taught by Srila Prabhupada cannot be accepted as bona fide practice of Krishna consciousness, at least within ISKCON. Hopefully, you are all mature people who make important decisions affecting your lives only after carefully considering all points. You have to use your intelligence based upon scrutinizing study of Srila Prabhupada books to ascertain whether or not the path and the leader you have chosen will truly benefit you or not. But it seems that you have already made your decision to follow AV Prabhu. That is entirely up to you. But kindly consider that although AV Prabhu undoubtedly has charisma and leadership qualities and is using that to attract people towards chanting Hare Krishna, still he is a relatively inexperienced devotee, and therefore it would not be wise to place one's whole faith in him. After all, to be accepted as a bona fide guru in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara requires not only unquestionable high character but also a degree of spiritual understanding and maturity that is usually developed over many years of dedicated service to one's own guru and to the preaching mission, which AV Prabhu simply does not have. As far as ISKCON authorities are concerned, it is their duty to make it clear that the path taught by AV Prabhu is not exactly according to the Parampara system and therefore should not be considered to be representative of ISKCON. You should not have too much difficulty with this, as anyway you consider yourselves to be separate. I hope this makes my position in this matter clearer. I have nothing against anyone involved and wish the best for all. However, it is my duty as a follower of Srila Prabhupada to uphold the Parampara principles and to cooperate with others who also do so.
Prabhuji.
Second,
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for reading. Hare Krishna. Bhatta Vivek can read. Continue to read from 2nd May 2001. Accept the mic and you can continue to read.
Is it audible, bro?
Yes.
Yeah. 2nd May 2001. Postscript. Maharaja, please, please and please, I beg you to pray for my spiritual strength. Are you feeling difficulty? Of course, I can and must pray for you. But you should also fully follow the process to gain spiritual strength, beginning with rising early and chanting rounds attentively. These are listed in the Nectar of Devotion. Please read this again and follow carefully. That will help you immensely. 6 June 2001. Thank you very much for approaching this in a responsible manner and for keeping me informed. However, I was not aware that Srila Prabhupada was in favor of premarital association, although I am ready to be convinced otherwise if evidence can be provided. I am not very much in favor of extended premarital association of possible spouses, as I am not sure that it serves much purpose and could be harmful. The idea is to see how the possible spouses get on together, but that can never be properly understood unless they are fully committed to each other and have to face difficulties together. So I don't think that the answer lies so much in attempting to find the perfect match, which is hardly to be found anywhere, as in the sense of commitment that makes the best of a match which may not be perfect. The traditional formula for the success of Indian marriages was based on character matching, backed by firm commitment to marriage vows and the responsibilities that go with them. In modern times, this is considered outdated and irrelevant. But the unhappiness and instability in modern families suggest that the traditional system worked better. I know that herself is quite cautious, having seen the example of her own parents divorce. However, I would prefer that you either marry without much delay or drop the whole thing off now. If not, if you feel that you must go on with the experiment, then please do so with a clear understanding between you and her that you intend to marry and will only not do so if you find out in the meantime that you are wholly incompatible. In other words, that you are for all intents and purposes engaged. Otherwise, this maybe not mentality may continue even after marriage, leading to separation due to caprice. 26th July 2001. It is difficult for me to give specific advice about a situation, the intricacies of which I am not aware. But I suggest that if you feel shy to approach the relevant persons, that you ask D. Prabhu to do so, or at least take D. Prabhu's advice after explaining the whole situation to him. He is a wise and considerate devotee and presumably knows the persons involved in and is therefore fit to guide you how to specifically behave in this instance. 7th August 2001. I heard that you are now not happy in Krishna consciousness and are aloof from devotional association. But I always knew you as a blissful and enthusiastic devotee. What happened? If there is any encouragement I can give you, please let me know. For having attained the gift of devotional service, we should always go forward positively towards perfection, whatever test the external energy may present. 8th September 2001. Please excuse the delayed reply. I have been traveling extensively and have had little time and limited internet access. And thank you for receiving me so nicely in your home and for giving us Nrsimha Prasada. As I quoted on that visit, by the prasada of Nrsimha Deva, a devotee can understand everything. Aham Vedemi. Prabhu, can you?
Aham vedmi sukho vetti vyaso vyasa vetti na vetti va. Sridhara sakalam vetti Shri Narsimha prasadataha. It's a very nice shloka quoted by what I can say. Sridhar Swami quotes this. Okay, you can read.
I, Lord Shiva, know, and
Yeah, yes,
Sukadeva knows.
Lord Shiva quotes this, telling that Sridhar Swami knows everything about Bhagavatam. Yeah.
I, Lord Shiva, know, and Sukadeva knows. Vyasa may or may not know, but Sridhar Swami knows everything by the mercy of his worshipped deity Nrsimhadeva. I wish you had voiced your doubts to me and I was in so that we could have discussed them in some depth, as in writing it would take practically a whole book to cover the details of them all. Basically, these doubts arise due to perception that the essential principle in parampara is the giving of mantras from guru to disciple, whereas in our line, we stress that the essence lies in giving shiksha. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, 80th chapter 32nd verse, Lord Krishna directly states that the spiritual master who gives shiksha is more important than he who gives diksha. My dear friend, he who gives a person his physical birth is his first spiritual master, and he who initiates him as a twice born Brahmana and engages him in religious duties is indeed more directly his spiritual master. But the person who bestows transcendental knowledge upon the members of all the spiritual orders of society is one's ultimate spiritual master. Indeed, he is as good as my own self. Regarding missing names in Parampara list, Srila Prabhupada wrote, regarding your question about the disciplic succession coming from Arjuna, it is just like I have got my disciples. So in the future, these many disciples may have many branches of disciplic succession. So in one line of disciples, we may not see another name coming from a different line. But this does not mean that person whose name does not appear was not in the disciplic succession. Narada was the spiritual master of Vyasadeva, and Arjuna was Vyasadeva's disciple, not as initiated disciple, but there was some blood relation between them. So there is connection in this way, and it is not possible to list all such relationships in the short description given in Bhagavad Gita as it is. Another point is that disciplic succession does not mean one has to be directly a disciple of particular person. The conclusions which we have tried to explain in our Bhagavad Gita as it is are the same as those conclusions of Arjuna. Arjuna accepted Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead, and we also accept the same truth under the disciplic succession of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Things equal to the same thing are equal to one another. This is an axiomatic truth. So there is no difference of opinion of understanding Krishna between ourselves and Arjuna. Another example is that a tree has many branches, and you will find one leaf here and another leaf there. But if you take this leaf and the other leaf and you press them both, you will see that the taste is the same. The taste is the conclusion. And from the taste, you can understand that both leaves are from the same tree. There are literally thousands of gurus in Parampara, but in the list given in Bhagavad Gita as it is, only the names of most influential acharyas have been given. Srila Prabhupada and other great scholarly acharyas before him were certainly aware that Narottam Das Thakur was initiated by Loknath Goswami and not Krishnadas Kaviraja, yet deliberately chose to present the Parampara in this way to stress that the essence of Parampara lies where the essence has been communicated, which is apparent where there is life of Krishna consciousness. In this regard, please consider that Srila Prabhupada most certainly did give Krishna consciousness to the world in a manner that is only possible for a divinely inspired person, and that he was therefore certainly connected to Krishna. To deny this is to deny tangible reality. Therefore, it would be wise to accept that Srila Prabhupada is in Parampara, even if the technicalities of his being so are difficult to understand. To give an analogy, it would be foolish to deny the existence of milk due to the apparent improbability that is produced from grass within the body of a cow. Even without understanding the technicalities of how this is so, an intelligent person does not refuse to drink milk and is thus able to benefit from it. It would be unwise to distrust milk and refuse to accept it on grounds of not being convinced of its source. If you distrust Srila Prabhupada and his parampara, then why trust those that are doubting him? They profess to accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that his name would be preached in every town and village of the world, and it is therefore clear that Srila Prabhupada has been blessed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to fulfill his mission. Those who criticize Srila Prabhupada have not been able to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in even a billionth of the way that Srila Prabhupada has. But if we are to doubt, then why accept even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Many proponents of Shastra deny that Lord Chaitanya is Bhagwan. Or why accept Krishna? Or why accept Shastra? Or that God exists? Or that anything exists? Doubt is a function of intelligence. But unless doubt is intelligently applied, it becomes skepticism, or doubt of everything, which is foolishness born of mode of ignorance. For although everything everyone does can be questioned, unless a person accepts some axioms, he cannot start to progress in spiritual life or even function as a sane human being. In other words, we have to put our faith somewhere. It is not unreasonable to accept as axiomatic truth that there is God and that Srila Prabhupada was a highly empowered representative of God who was neither deluded himself nor deluded that he cheated others. He knew what he was doing and was fully aware of all Shastric conclusions and principles. Here were extensive citations from my at the time unpublished book on Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and from Sri Tattva Sutra by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura. These have been deleted. Please consider that although parampara is conventionally understood to mean a diksha line, there is not to my knowledge any shastric injunction that it must be so. Parampara simply means succession, and the true succession is that in which Krishna consciousness is alive and apparent. The term Bhagavata Parampara was coined to distinguish real living parampara from the kind of parampara that can, as Krishna indicates in Gita 4.2, become spoiled if even one member in the chain alters it. Although Bhagavata Parampara may apparently be a relatively new term, Bhagavata Parampara is the only true parampara that eternally exists, for it is the descendant of the absolute truth through the succession of pure devotees. Indeed, the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the most essential scripture for all Gaudiya Vaishnavas, only comes to us via a Shiksha or Bhagavata Parampara. Krishna spoke the essence of Bhagavata to Brahma. Brahma spoke it to Narada, and Narada in turn taught it to Vyasa. Sukadeva, who was known not to have undergone any Diksha Samskara, learned its essence from Vyasa. Sukadeva spoke it to Emperor Parikshit. At the time, Sutta heard it as well, and he in turn spoke it to Shaunaka. This is the Bhagavata Guru Parampara, a Shiksha Parampara. Without the Bhagavata Parampara, as mentioned above, there is no Srimad Bhagavatam. The importance of Bhagavatas over conventional gurus is also apparent in that without realized devotees to explain Shastra, the very existence of Radha as the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam would remain unknown, for her name is not mentioned therein. Much more could be written about this, but please carefully consider this much first. It will also help, if you have not yet done so, to read the English translation of Brahmana or Vaishnava by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Try to get a copy there, and if you can't get one, I'll send a copy from India. 30 September 2001.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Not okay. Thank you.
Can start.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shubhankar ji, you can read. वो क्या है बंद नहीं है पीछे चल रहा है
30th September 2001. Not every endeavor in Krishna consciousness works out successfully. Srila Prabhupada himself started and stopped several projects before founding ISKCON, most notably his League of Devotees in Jhansi, in which, as in your endeavor, persons who had promised to help later reneged. On seeing that circumstances had changed, Srila Prabhupada also changed to serve Krishna in a manner more likely to be fruitful. So I don't think that in this case it will be wrong for you to also force the fact that every endeavor in this world, even those done for Lord Krishna, cannot be successful, and thus go on to serve him in another way. 22nd October 2001. Congratulations on your success in your studies. It's also heartwarming to know of your spiritual rejuvenation. But it's really a pity, almost a curse, that your husband doubts Srila Prabhupada, especially considering that practically all sampradayas in India, even non-Vaishnavas, accept him as an extraordinarily empowered pure devotee. and that only a tiny handful of not very prominent people have anything bad to say against Srila Prabhupada or his movement. If your husband is to accept shelter in another sampradaya, then probably most auspicious, considering that he is apparently unable to directly accept Srila Prabhupada, yet has strong attachment to Lord Nrsimhadeva, would be for him to enter the Sri Sampradaya, whose members, at least all those I have met, although adherents of a somewhat different Siddhanta, are nevertheless highly appreciative of Srila Prabhupada. Hoping this meets you well and ever improving in Krishna consciousness. 3rd December 2001. In many places in his books, Srila Prabhupada stated that there is no love in the material world, but only a reflection of it in the form of lust, as well as all other kinds of relations too. So the meaning is that love is only possible and real in relations with God and for His pleasure. Otherwise, it will be some or other form of lust, right? But also in many other places, he used the word love to describe relations between husband and wife, not only between a devotee and God, like Devahuti served Kardama in intimacy and with love. One can find many references in the Vedas. We see that actually love is possible between living entities as well, living beings as well. Many places in the Vedas describe the family life and relations in it, etc. Other philosophies also talk about yin yang, etc. The need to have a balance of these energies. Also, lots of cases in ISKCON history provide the examples of the need for love, or whatever it's called. So, what is that if not love? And then what is love? Is it not possible between living entities? How is it supposed to be if it is possible, what I believe? How to make it successful and not interfering with our love of God? I feel that the need for finding the life partner, or what is it called properly, is always there, even maybe for some realized souls. And the desire to find such an fulfill these loving relations is essential and may be also important in our growth to love of God. I don't know how to express or explain it properly. I'm sure you had thought, discussed, and studied all that with more experienced persons and know and understand it much better. So I hope to get your explanations. I don't want to bother you much, yet I wish I could have your sufficient attention and kind help for full clarification of all this matter for me. Otherwise, I am not sure even how to continue with my life and my spiritual practice. Love is ultimately meant for Krishna, but is also shared between jivas who cooperate to serve Krishna and to mutually enhance their love for Krishna. Any form of love in this material world may appear to be very meaningful, but ultimately isn't, as it simply entangles the living beings in illusion and result in repeated birth and death. Nevertheless, for stability in society, the cultivation of love within marriage is recommended for persons at a certain level. Such affection can help save one from bestial irresponsibility, yet it is also entangling and is therefore ultimately to be transcended. However, if family responsibility is renounced on prematurely, there is a high risk of fall down. The Vedic directions for family life may thus sometimes appear to contradict those for sannyasis. Neither are incorrect, but are meant for persons on different levels. Most people are not ready for renunciation, although without coming to the stage of material non attachment, no one can achieve the perfection of life, namely full Krishna consciousness. There is no harm in having a life partner, but it should be understood that there is nothing inherently spiritual in such a relationship, although it can be spiritualized if service to Krishna is made the center of the relationship. It is certainly important that devotees develop meaningful relationships between themselves. Krishna consciousness is not meant to be impersonal, but to bring out the best in each person and to share that with others. However, relationships in Krishna consciousness are not established on sentimental basis, but with a true understanding of what it means to love all living beings by seeing them as parts and parcels of Krishna. It is better not to be enamored by such materialistic philosophies as those expounding yin and yang. They may have useful insights for living in the material world, but cannot lead us beyond it. The perfection of life is not to balance yin and yang, but to develop pure love of Krishna. The following is from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, chapter 24. Swamiji, he began, may I ask a question? Yes, Srila Prabhupada replied, stopping his pacing. If a boy is separate from a girl, then how can he learn to love her? Prabhupada began to walk back and forth again, chanting on his piece. After a moment, he turned and said softly, Love? Love is for Krishna. And he walked toward the window and looked down at the street below. You want a girl? Pick one. He pointed towards some women passing on the street. There is no love in this material world, he said. Love is for Krishna. For you, it is advisable to fully consider the meaning of responsibility in family life, and on that basis to prepare yourself to enter into a stable religious marital partnership. 13th December 2001. It is with a mixture of sadness and happiness that I heard of K's passing. Sadness in sharing your sadness, and happiness that Krishna has released him from his state of suffering and brought him to a better destination. Throughout his life he performed no sin, and was always in the association of devotees, taking prasada, hearing and chanting Hare Krishna, and seeing the deities. It seems that K was an exalted soul who just had a little more purification to make, and that now it is done. Krishna has taken him to him. As a loving mother and sister, you have done your duty, and more to him, thus giving you the chance to serve a Vaishnava. Naturally, you will feel the pain of losing your son and brother, but you need not lament, knowing that he is safe in the shelter of Krishna. Son and brother. 20th
Okay,
December.
I think we can stop here. It's already 9 2. I just want to see whether we can read this letter also. Yeah, we can complete this letter so that we can continue tomorrow from this. Yes.
20th December 2001. Women in general are unable to speculate like philosophers, but they are blessed by the Lord because they believe at once in the superiority and almightiness of the Lord, and thus they offer obeisances without reservation. Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 8th Chapter, 20th Purport. Perhaps it would have been more appropriate to have said, women in general are less likely to speculate like philosophers. Women in Krishna consciousness do enjoy philosophizing and discussing. I believe it would be fairer to say that whilst women are able to speculate like philosophers, they are blessed by the Lord in that they accept more readily the tenets and precepts of a philosophy and religion without the necessity to philosophize. Although, although it is nowadays a fashion to challenge what Srila Prabhupada says and present one's own opinion as superior, it should be remembered that as minuscule beings, our intelligence is insignificant before that of realized acharyas, and that therefore the basic principle of understanding Vaishnava philosophy is faith in the words of such acharyas. Guru Mukha Padma Bhakya Chittete Koriya Oikko Arna Koriho Mone Asha. If what an acharya says seems difficult to accept or apparently defies observed reality, a submissive disciple may present his doubt to get it cleared, as Arjuna did. See Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 4th verse. A man or woman who, with intrinsic faith, which Srila Prabhupada mentions above, is more common in women, thus applies their intelligence to understand the Acharya's teachings, is blessed by them with realization.
Okay, so we'll continue tomorrow from 2002, 8 January 2002. So
Thank
we'll
you, Prabhu. Hare
stop
Krishna.
here. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So if devotees want to ask something, they are welcome to ask. Else, I can stop here. If anybody wants to ask something, I want to request a mic, then I can give the access to the mic. Otherwise, I can stop here. Okay, so we'll stop here and meet tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Mancha कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। तन्ते निधाय तृणकं पदयोर्निपत्य कृत्वा च काकुशतम् एतद् अहं ब्रवीमि। हे साधवः सकलमेव विहाय दूरात् चैतन्यचन्द्रचरणे कुरुतानुराग। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतलेश्वराय। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण।